Love the enthusiasm. Now, it's a tough, Steve's a tough act to follow. He's a great speaker. But it's a question, how many people here are physicians or healthcare professionals versus lay people? Okay, so I can change the talk a little bit. Basically throw it all out. But how I got into peptides, actually, growing up, always something was really wrong. I was functional, but like half my body would be sweating, they'd have freezing, my arm would stop working, and doctors are like, oh, stress or something, Terrible Raynaud's, like I couldn't shake hands because the hands were freezing. But it was very functional until went to medical school and basically started where I was just so fatigued and mentally fatigued. I couldn't even talk to a patient, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, what can I do? Go to anesthesia, because you don't have to talk to them, they're asleep. But it got really bad, and I'm like, I got to drop out of medicine. And because it was ingrained in medical school, do not go to any alternative because it means no evidence. And I'm like, I'm dying here. I went to all these, top-end university doctors, and they're like, well, nothing we can do. And I go to these alternative conferences. I'm like, they're more evidence-based than the crap they're teaching me, And so basically, I said, okay. I started learning about, how I can get myself better. But then I got Lyme. Found out I had Lyme disease, Babesia, Bartonella, chronic infections. Went into heart failure from it, so I couldn't stand up, and so I have to walk around like this. And I'm just like, I can't live like this. So either I'm gonna, at Halloween, gonna end it, or I'm gonna find something to cure it. And so went around the country, around the world, and I was in Belgium, and I got peptides. Didn't think anything of it, and took some peptides, and like 3 days later, I couldn't walk upstairs, I couldn't stand upright. I'm like, I just walked up the stairs. Wait, what did I do? I'm trying to backtrack. Wait, was it the peptides? No, I don't think so. Because I didn't really expect anything from them. And went back and did them again. I'm like, damn, I'm so much better. And long story short, so basically they couldn't get them into the country. It took about 2 years to kind of get them, where we can use them on patients and stuff. And it's changed my life, because I would be talking like this. Or actually I wouldn't be here. But and just so many patients in our clinic, ALS patients, like for instance, coming in wheelchairs, they're jogging now. Alzheimer's, chronic Lyme. I get even teary-eyed from it, but it's just amazing. And also, like with age management, in fact, we started a program where we guarantee people will lose 5 years in biologic age. How much people, how valuable is that for people? So it's really a cool time to be alive, I think, with the medicine, if we can just get Big Pharma out of the picture. But there's really cool stuff happening, and you're hearing it all here. So I will move on. So all this is probably a little too technical now, but you look at really your immune system is the core of aging, right? So you age for a lot of reasons, but the biggest core factor is your immune system. And if you think about your immune system, there's two sides. There's Th1, to get stuff inside the cell, and there's Th2, to get stuff outside the cell. Usually they're balanced, but as you get older, your thymus right here in your breastbone starts to involute. At age 15, it starts going down. And what happens, your Th1 goes down, and your Th2 goes up. So you can't fight intercellular infections, you can't fight cancers, but you have all this inflammation. And then also toxins, and we're being toxin to death with the food we're getting, all the pesticides, plastics. It's killing us, honestly. And chronic infections, so the immune system drops, and vaccines, and then this keeps going up. So right now, so many people have multi-system illness that we never had like 20 years ago. And let's see. So it's really called a Th1 to Th2 shift. And that's like, you can really tell someone's health by their immune system. So we'll check this in the clinic. And what happens that ends up causing suppression of your immune system, which then your body can't get rid of these bad cells called senescent cells. And they start building up, and they cause, instead of basically doing what they're supposed to do, they go into like cell danger response, and they start secreting all this reactive oxygen species. And then that then recruits all these other senescent cells, and it's a vicious cycle. Like everything in medicine is a vicious cycle. So you basically get what's called inflammatory aging, cellular senescence, and then which results in all these diseases of aging that people are having now at 30, 35. And I mean, we're, as a population, very, very sick. And so the thymus involutes, and we'll show you a graph on that, and then it results in mitochondria, pineal, hypothalamic, pituitary, dysfunction, and this is probably too technical, but, and then again, everything's a vicious cycle. So here's the thymic activity, and you can see after age 10, it starts going down. And right at age 40, we can see right at age 40 where it drops. That's when all those diseases of aging, right, start occurring. Cancer, osteoporosis, autoimmunity. And so, okay, what do you do about it? Well, there's all these studies, and you probably heard about them here, like let's rejuvenate the thymus, that's great, but why not just give back the thymic peptides? Ew. You know, if they're safe, effective, inexpensive, it's like, you know, hormone replacement. And you can see there, look at the diseases, exactly when the thymus activity diminishes. And so even the CDC, which is not, you know, they're about 17 years behind on average, but they said 80% of aged individuals are afflicted with at least one chronic disease as a result of decline in thymic function. Okay, why don't we fix that? And there's 80% of the population now gets rid of their chronic illness. Low levels of thymic peptide are found to be primary, secondary immune deficiencies. It results in autoimmunity and all these, again, diseases of aging. And everything's a vicious cycle. And this was from 2003 with training physicians, but you'll see everything just goes around and around with the immune system at the core. And so what is the peptide? Is anyone using peptides or bioregulators? You don't count. Okay, cool. Are you guys using more peptides or bioregulators or peptide? Yeah, so what is a peptide? So they're naturally occurring, basically amino acid chains. Just arbitrarily, if they're longer than 40 to 50, matters who you ask, they're a protein, like insulin. If they're shorter, they're a peptide. But then bioregulators are a peptide, but a subset of peptides that are 2 to 4 amino acids in length, and they work differently. So peptides generally work on the cell surface, and which then cause a chain reaction in the cells, and they have multiple effects. Now the bioregulators work a little differently. They go into the cell and then attach to the DNA promoters or inhibitors of gene transcription. So what it does, it works epigenetically, and it turns on or off genes. And luckily, they turn on the anti-aging genes, anti-inflammatory genes, and turn off the aging genes. And so it's really a huge breakthrough. And although they've been around for quite a while, but most of the research, again, was in the Soviet Union. I don't know if you saw Dr. McCann's talk, but the Soviet Union, they found that their astronauts and the high-speed jet pilots and submariners were aging tremendously fast. And they said, you know, basically, they went to Kavasin, who was a KGB physician in charge of the gerontology, said, you shall fix this, right? Okay. And interestingly, he was very good friends with Pavlov's dogs, right? And although Pavlov is known for that, he was actually very into peptides. And that was actually his major interest. And so it seemed like a stroke of luck, but I'm sure there was a lot behind it. And they found giving the pineal gland bioregulator with a thymus bioregulator reversed that rapid aging. And all this was kept secret because it was Soviet Union, right? So it was a military secret, and they used it on the military and the Olympic team, and they did pretty damn well during that time, right? And then when the fall of the Soviet Union, the studies started getting published, but they're in Russian. And slowly people started translating them, the studies, and going, shit, what's going on over there? And so they're publishing, and then maybe able to bring them here in the U.S. So it's really transformed, again, my life and so many patients. It's crazy. But yeah, so peptides work on most every process in the body, and we think kind of like, oh, the hormones, the master regulators, but think of the peptides as the fine tuning, and they're very tissue specific. Where you give a peptide, you got there's 21 bioregulators, right? For instance, I have chronic kidney disease from the Lyme, and so my creatinine is a little high. This is probably TMI, but so when my urine's very foamy if I don't take something because of the protein. I dump protein, but if I take the kidney bioregulator, about 6 hours later for 3 days, no foam, so no dumping of protein. And we'll give it out to patients, friends, family. And one of our staff's mom said her mom was on dialysis. I said, oh, here, give her this. Kind of forgot about it. 3 months later, she said, oh my God, the doctor is so freaked out. He's never had anyone get off dialysis. And my kidney function improved. I'm like, well, that's kind of nice. And they're extremely safe. You can give them 10,000 times a dose. And there's just so many things they work for. For instance, someone has AFib, give them the cardiac bioregulator. But the big thing is with the thymic peptides, and we'll get into that. So this is talking about the origin I just spoke about. With the Russian origin. And very tissue specific. And so they found that if you give a peptide, for something else, it didn't affect the tissue in terms of protein synthesis. So they're very specific. So we have one for the thyroid, and actually no one else has this. This took a long time to develop. In terms of there's the extracts, like the thyroid extract, and then there's the actual active molecule, right? And so no one supposedly knew of the active molecule, but we have 3 of them, and actually going to be 6. But so there's thyroid bioregulators and thyroid axis bioregulators. And here's a couple studies. So thyroid and thyroid axis bioregulators are extracted from the thyroid gland, can normalize thyroid function, reverse hypo and hyperthyroidism, autoimmune thyroiditis, reduce the size of nodules, improves the pineal, hypothalamic, pituitary thyroid function, prevents stem cell aging, activates telomerase, improves cholesterol, rejuvenates hair, nails, improves physical performance. And these are all studies, by the way. Less chronic infections. So this is a study, a small study, but 25 patients with primary hypothyroidism, including 11 men, 14 women. The controlled group of 19 patients. Both groups complained of severe fatigue, poor endurance, drowsiness, memory impairment, frequent headaches, dizziness, and increased incidence of chest pain. Signs of thyroid atrophy were detected. The control group prescribed conventional therapy, which was T4 for 20 days. Patients in the primary group received the thyroid bioregulator. So this is not the thyroid axis, but the thyroid bioregulator. Patients had basically tested the laboratory tests. results that the thyroid bioregulator noted to improvements in clinical manifestations of disease in 78% of cases. The most significant effect was observed in persons older people. After just 20 days, compared to the control group, thyroid bioregulator group noted increased working capacity, decreased frequency of headaches, and decreased chest pain. That's a good thing. Their thyroid levels went up. They basically reached the normal level. So the bioregulator group experienced a 300% increase in T3 to a level into the normal range, and T4 level 25%, the lowest level of normal. So dramatic improvement in the thyroid levels without, additional thyroid. So after stopping the therapy, T4 and T3 levels in the thyroid group remained normal for 3 to 4 months. So it reset the whole thyroid gland. And so here's the graph there, and you can see that after treatment with conventional, so before treatment, 0.38 on T3, and then the conventional group that got thyroid, 1.12, with the bioregulator, 1.5, and T4 went from 38 to 55 with treatment, but 87 with the bioregulator. So there's another study, 218 patients with autoimmune thyroiditis, so Hashimoto's. 89 people that are treated with T4, 50 micrograms. The second group also received the thyroid bioregulator. And the third group, they got the thyroid axis bioregulator, okay? And so you see the numbers here that with the ultrasound of the thyroid, the one that got the thyroid axis bioregulator actually reduced the swelling and the enlargement and nodules. And then with infrared also improved significantly. With T4, so the original was 0.85 before treatment, and they with standard treatment to 0.92. With just the thyroid bioregulator, 0.98, but significantly more increase with the axis. Same with the TSH, went from 7 to 4 to lower with the thyroid axis. And then the big thing is the antibodies. So the antibodies are attacking the thyroid. And the standard thyroid bioregulator did not reduce the antibodies, but the thyroid axis bioregulator lowered it from 83 to 18, and the TPO, a different antibody, from 357 to 29. 371 to 29, where the thyroid bioregulator did not do anything. So it's a big bump up with the thyroid axis bioregulator, and this is we have there with the 3 different bioregulators that no one knows about, but we have them there at integrated peptides in the exhibit hall. So this is another study. This was actually rats, or you can also do attorneys. It kind of works the same. So the first group basically didn't do anything. The second group, they received the physiologic saline. And then 15 rats and 10 old rats received the thyroid axis bioregulator. And the young and old rats treated with saline experienced a 43 and 30% weight loss, growth retardation and sluggishness, suppressed excitement, and anorexia, while those given the thyroid axis bioregulator had a 19, significantly less weight loss, and the one that had the additional thyroid axis bioregulator only had a 7 and 6% weight loss. Normal thyroid architecture was much more consistently maintained with the thyroid bioaxis. TSH, T3, and T4 levels plummeted 80 to 90% after they took out the thyroid. I don't know if I mentioned that part. So they took out their thyroid, but decline was significantly blunted with the thyroid bioregulators, which is interesting because they took out their thyroid. How did the levels of thyroid increase, right? so what it shows that our simplistic view of the thyroid, makes the thyroid, is the only thing making the thyroid hormone, is not right. So, and actually a number of tissues will make thyroid hormone. So, and there's some also studies showing that where they take chickens, but they took out their pituitary, and you give the pineal peptide, and it's making all these hormones, and the pituitary is gone. So the body is amazing, but our simplistic view is interesting. So the thyroid axis bioregulator prevented the signs of hypothyroidism and normalized the structure and function of the thyroid gland. So it was shown to significantly rejuvenate and stimulate both the structure and function of the thymus, and which we were saying that's a major cause. So the vascular bioregulator, so basically it's peptides from the vessel endometrium, or to say in the endothelial lining. And it's pretty amazing.
Sorry, it's giving you a little water right here.
Thanks, some coffee. It is the 9 o'clock party time. So with the vascular bioregulator, it's very interesting. So many studies on this stuff showing it reverses and prevents Alzheimer's, atherosclerosis. I mean, it's crazy. Hypertension, chronic kidney disease, which is just plaguing our country. To reduce the mortality, administering the cardiac bioregulator with the vessel, dramatic reduction in cardiovascular disease, morbidity, mortality when using these things, especially together. And I know there's some controversy how many bioregulators you can give patients, and it was reported to me that someone was saying no more than 5. Well, I don't know, I give people 20 first visits, and it's amazing. But yeah, you can, each patient's different. But also substantial decrease in necrotic areas, like after a heart attack. So it reverses the damage of a heart attack. I mean, it's just why isn't this on the front page of, LA Times? But I guess it's not a news organization anymore. But so blood vessel bioregulators restore vascular function, normalize endothelial 1, which is atherosclerosis. So it's basically rejuvenating the whole cardiovascular system. Congestive heart failure, it's crazy, because that's, I had that, and it's not a good way to live. So in this study here, the study aimed to evaluate the effects of the vascular bioregulator on, basically it's from the aorta of young calves. They had 49 patients, 27 treatment group, 22 in the control group, and they had atherosclerosis and senile purpura. So it's basically where you see with aged individuals, they'll have the bruising, and I'm getting the red light. I haven't even got through much, but wow, I can't believe it went that fast. And so basically, it reversed all the cardiovascular disease. I wouldn't say all. It significantly improved it. And let me get to a couple things here. And so we have basically a number of combination products. So we'll have, the bioregulators, there's 21 of them, so you can take, each individual one's a lot of pills. So what we're doing is putting them together based on a particular need. So for brain, we have basically the brain bioregulator, the vascular, and with subcortical pinealion, which has amazing effects. I have so many studies in this, but it took way too long. And then the pineal pep, which is the pineal gland, and the pineal gland is the master regulator of all your systems. So it has all the different pineal stuff, and so we're making it simple. And I don't know, I think I'm out of time, but so it took way too long. But so we have thymogen alpha 1, which is the focus to increase that Th1 and lower that Th2, and really get to the core of aging, the causes of aging. And we have, basically you can come and try the powder, which is, we have a gut feeling max, which has, I don't know if you know about BPC, KPV, Akkermansia probiotics, which is the probiotic that's been a lot in the news because people are overweight, don't have it, and people who are lean have it. And show that you give this probiotic, the basically overweight people lose weight. And so it's kind of that whole physiologic thing with the whole gut bacteria. I think they cut me off, or maybe I did it. But it looks like I'm out of time. But if you want to come by the Integrative Peptides booth, do we have a booth number or anything like that?
It was 316, but it's there. We're right in the center.
All right, any questions or anything?
Are any of these injectable?
No, that's a nice thing, is that people think peptides injectable, but these are totally bioavailable orally. So they are available injectable, but you don't need to.
When you say bioavailable, is there a encapsulation or nanoparticle technique, or they just have
No, there are, but you don't need to, yeah. And lots of studies showing that, which is nice.
Do you cycle these, or do you take them constantly?
That's a good question. And, people always say, oh, this is how you have to do it. That's how, the Cavison did it in their studies where they do it 10 days, but you just do one protocol. It didn't compare it to any other protocols, right? So no one knows. But we're finding great results. We'll typically do it every day for 60 days. It depends how sick too, right? And then, especially if you're taking 21, okay, which ones you take, and you're taking so many pills, so they're rotating them, and their ongoing study, basically showed after the first year, they had basically up to 17 years in reduction in biologic age on the telomere test, and about 4 years on the methylation test. But, yeah, no one knows. But we tend to, just because of hassle and cost, we'll do, if they're really, if they're sick or have a particular reason versus prevention, every day for 60 days. And then, we'll try to make it easy. And maybe 10 days a month is good. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's more optimal to take it every day. But, so we kind of play the odds and do, it depends on also the patient, right? If they're like, some people won't, especially a guy, he's not going to take a bunch of pills. So we try to make it easy. So the answer is no one really knows. But it's reasonable, at least we know 10 days a month works.
So I have a patient with subclinical hypothyroidism, doesn't want to take Synthroid.
Wait, but what is subclinical hypothyroidism?
5.28.
Yeah,
age.
but that's a misnomer, right? They say, oh, they're low thyroid, but they have no
He's low
symptoms.
energy, all that.
Because, yeah, it means they have no
Doesn't wanna take the
symptoms.
meds, so I'm saying, what's a good,
Yeah, just you try the bioregulator and very,
one or two or three or all of them, or? what's
yeah,
a
I
good
would say
dose?
2 a day
2 a day,
for a
60
month,
days?
and then, a month, and then recheck and ask about her symptoms.
Great.
you take the tablets on an empty stomach or a full stomach?
That's a good question. Generally, we recommend empty stomach, but they work on a full stomach too. So, when we say empty stomach, people like freak out and like fast for days or whatever. So, yeah, empty stomach's better, but it works if you don't.
Is there a significant difference between taking capsules versus injections?
Depends on the peptide. People are putting, with the bioregulators, and I have a bunch of studies actually in here showing that, or BPC, which is an aberration, because if it's more than 4 amino acids, or really 3, that you don't know if it's going to absorb orally, right? And for instance, with BPC, we have all our peptides are acetylated and amidated. So when the body has a peptide or a protein that it needs to preserve, it puts caps on it, acetylating and amidating, right? And that protects it from the digestion. Now the digestive enzymes in the gut don't recognize it. And so with BPC 157, the owners of the patent on the acetylated amidated ran out. And so they said, oh, let's do an arginine BPC salt, right? But that just basically separates and it now gets attacked. And they called it stable BPC, some good marketing. And now people are like, oh, that's a stable BPC. But they also have to add stuff to it called SNAC, which it breaks open the the gut barrier, so it absorbs. Because it's a salt, it's very polar. And so you're like, let's say, treating leaky gut, but you're breaking open the tight junctions to treat it. So it's not too above board. But yeah, I guess back to your question, that if it's less than 3, there's a good chance. If it's acetylated and amidated, and then also our peptides, for instance, the TB4 frag, it's an isomer. It's a natural isomer, which has the one amino acid that is rotated. So it's the same thing, but it's like right and left hand, and it makes it about 20 times as potent. Okay, and it's not recognized by the gut bacteria to break it down, or enzymes, as well as our KPV is about 60 times as potent as other standard KPVs. And then you add the acetylation and amidation, it's probably 100 times as potent. And so those we know work. It's very expensive to do bioavailability studies, but so we rely on basically the effect, right? And we did do proteomics and to look and show that there's effect on the genes and on the enzymes and after effects. So we know that they absorb, yeah. But other things are longer than that. For instance, like growth hormone and these other things you have. People are putting them in sublingual. There's no evidence that they absorb.
Is there a shelf life on it?
There is. Probably 3 years. But yeah, I mean, it could be much, much longer.
Does it matter what time of the day you take it?
Yes and no. That basically, I mean, kind of with the peptides like BPC, it's kind of activating, and I mean, some people are like, oh, it helps me sleep, and other people, well, it keeps me awake. So just basically take it when if you have that effect. So, yeah.
Hi, can you speak about some of these, like the semaglutides and the tirzepatides? Because I know your company offers injectables as well as the oral
Yeah.
peptides.
Yeah, so those could never, I mean, they make them oral, but what's interesting, the compound is not acetylated and amidated. And so it can't be used orally, and it's not really the same as the brand, although it works fine injectable, and that's why the FDA is all, for a lot of reasons. Like California won't allow it to be shipped into California, not for health reasons, because Big Pharma doesn't want it. It's ridiculous. It's crazy.
Your wife was saying though, like I eat organically, I'm a nutritionist, I've got my diet down, right? But the weight is at my point up. And I know that I wouldn't be part of that 70% that puts it all back on. I just know I won't. So I want to do something like that because I think these peptide things are really cool. There's a lot of people doing really well with it. I don't want those side effects. And your wife was saying you have another peptide,
BPC 157.
she said if you take that with it, that basically eliminates all of any of the side effects. That and she gave you the gut.
Yeah. I wouldn't go that far. I don't want to say that, but
Helps to mitigate them.
yeah, it stops all the GERD and all that, and actually helps with keeping lean muscle and lowering inflammation and all that. But what's interesting, and a bunch of lectures on weight loss in this, but if you diet 3 significant sessions, right, that your metabolism will drop 25%. And if you go back to normal eating, your metabolism won't go back to normal. And your thyroid levels drop. So how many people is that in the country, right? And we check everyone's basal metabolic rate when they come in. And if they are older, stressed, have a chronic illness, or have weight gain, 90 8% of the time, their metabolism is less than, basically 25% less than a normal person of that same age and weight. And people say, I've wrecked my metabolism. They have. And people go, oh, I have a slow metabolism. Yeah, right, you're eating bonbons in the closet. Not true. And the people who are overweight eat less than lean people. And they keep gaining weight. And you check your metabolism, it's just, you can't believe it. But so you got to give a little T3, thyroid, some peptides to boost mitochondrial function.
The evil time clock person is
That's all right,
telling
we're the
me
last
2
people.
minutes.
All right,
It's not me.
we're here. Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
can we say that, complete that one?
yeah. So you gotta check your metabolism, and I would bet it's low.
It's
And-
probably a little low.
Yeah.
I know it's a lot better than it was.
Yeah.
And then the other last thing I wanted to say, because I know we have a second, there's another doctor here that last year that does, he's glad, I don't remember his name, he does customized peptides. Do you do anything like that too?
What does that mean?
It's like $20,000 a year.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's from yeah, that's from
customized.
Neo 7, and they're pretty amazing. They take your blood and I'm blown away with it. I totally am. And they develop basically customized peptides with AI. Very cool. In fact, I've had the kit for like 4 months, but yeah, it ends up being $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, right? Which is great, and that may come down in price, but I think in the future it's going to be huge.
So it's very cool if you're a billionaire.
Yeah, like a lot of things, but it's kind of like things start out, look at TVs and hopefully they'll come down. So they're very brilliant people, very nice people too, ethical. So it's not BS. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're what I can afford.
Okay. Maybe we should raise our prices. No.
Well,
Okay.
I'm not gonna spend $25,000.
I'm kidding, yeah.
Anyway, thank you.
Yeah.
What are your indications for
Any symptoms, aging. KBV is pretty amazing. So KBV is the last 3 amino acids from alpha melanocyte stimulating hormone, which goes up when you get sun, right? And it causes tanning, but it's also very anti-inflammatory. And so when you take the last 3 amino acids, it's pretty amazing. And it doesn't work on the melanocyte receptor. And what the body does, it will have a protein, and it will cleave off as a bioregulator part of it, and that's what that is. And it actually boosts your immunity, lowers inflammation, and is directly antimicrobial. Against fungus, it is actually more potent than like fluconazole at 1/1000th the dose. And against like toxic Staph aureus, again at 1/1000th the dose, more potent than the antibiotics. So it kills all these bugs, boosts your immunity, and lowers inflammation. Yeah, so what would that be good for? Yeah. So aging, like any symptoms, autoimmunity, leaky gut, chronic fatigue, depression too, same with the BPC and all those things. BPC works for so many things. It lowers inflammation, increases healing, increases rejuvenation, lowers mTOR, and increases sirtuin, so you age slower. It's kind of the go-to thing, like they give it to rats with MS and inflammatory bowel disease, and it fixed both of them, oral. So it's like, okay, it kind of, you look at the studies, and whether it's heart attack or stroke or dementia, I mean, it's kind of, I kind of hate to put all the studies because it sounds like snake oil, right? But the literature's there, yeah.
Would you suggest any type of organ meats taken in conjunction together simultaneously?
Yeah, I think organ meats, which is disgusting to me, but they're,
Increase even more the effect?
yeah, I think that's why, like, why do, sharks basically just, eat, or killer whales, they'll eat the whale's liver and leave, or the thymus, they'll go up to that. So yeah, I mean, it's actually good. It's thought about like, that's what the people without money eat, but that's where the good stuff is. I mean, we're so sick as a population because we want the filet mignon, but you should be eating the so-called stuff we throw.
Taking your peptides together with the organ meats.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Get a better effect from the
I would there's no studies, of course, but yeah, that would make sense.
I just pulled up my blood work from quite some time ago, and it has my TSH at 5.1, which is high. Does that mean thyroid peptides might be useful for me?
Yeah, I'd love we'll give you some and then check it in a month and let us know. Give us a call.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great. We'll put it up. I look forward to it. Party time? Sleep time?
Do you have peptides for joint repair?
Yeah, so there's the cartilage bioregulator and bone bioregulator, but also the BPC is going to lower inflammation, increase rejuvenation of it. For instance, I was supposed to get surgery, double hip replacement, shoulder replacement 15 years ago. From Lyme, it just kills your joints. You know, all good. Yeah, so you do a BPC, KPV, lowers inflammation, is rejuvenating, and then some of the bioregulators, probably, I would say 4 things. And
Have those here?
yeah, to integrate peptides. Someone did the fake. Anyone else? No one's asked me about after-hours clubs or anything? All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it.